I was talking about the messenger channel. By the way, I know we're live. The messenger channel, so that way we can get the live stream out. So, good afternoon, well, good evening, everyone. This is Chief Forecaster Cameron.
And Derek
Here,
and our special guest, Jeff Baskin is on as well.
Yeah, he doesn't have his camera on because he's too busy eating grub. But we've got his audio here, guys. So we've got team coverage across the board. Talk to you guys about the snowfall potential and everything like that. But before we get into all of that, we want to address the comments about, where's the snow? You guys hyped this up. And where's all the snow and everything like that? We want to kind of break this down on what's going on right now here. So what you guys see on your screen right now here is what we call relative humidity. And obviously, for our folks over here in western, central, and into southwestern Arkansas, your humidity is near 100% right now, which means you're getting precipitation. However, for our folks over here in eastern Arkansas and primarily northeastern Arkansas, you have dry air up here. What's going to happen is, and we've been stressing this for days, for absolutely days. It's been going on from one ear to the next. Patience, 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 okay? You got to be patient with these types of systems, guys. It's got to work over some dry air. You will get in on the snow. Stop saying that these forecasts are hype or just trying to call everybody out because of all this. Guys, you got to be patient, okay? This is what's going on right now here. Right over here in eastern Arkansas, you've got that dry air. And once this moisture moves over to eastern, northeastern Arkansas, then you will get the snow, okay? But my folks in eastern and northeastern Arkansas, we know we have a lot of people that are coming in that are saying, no snow and all this. We know. We get it, okay? You got to let the dry air work itself out, and then the snow will start to come. You guys weren't even expected to see snowfall during the day today. Like, nowhere near it. You guys were not expected to see it during the day. This was originally going to be a tonight into the overnight threat for over there in eastern, northeast Arkansas anyway. Our folks in western Arkansas and central, you guys were going to see it throughout the day here, but we weren't expecting anything over here until later on here. So that's why I wanted to come straight live and talk about this, because we've had overwhelming comments about it. Folks, it's not hype. It's not. We wouldn't be posting snow maps and all that if it was, okay? So our folks in western Arkansas, you're getting the snow right now, right on schedule. Eastern and northeastern Arkansas, it's patience. You got to have it with this situation here, guys. And this is just relative humidity, by the way. So the forecast is just now getting started for our folks in eastern and northeastern Arkansas. Go ahead, Derek.
So biggest thing is that, as we've talked about, for several days, is that this was going to be a system that was moving in from the southwest to the northeast. You had your initial impulse coming in, and you have your main system that is still out west.
Yep.
And Jeff, if you want to mention this, let's talk to everybody about, how you might see radar or precipitation on the radar, but it's not reaching the ground.
Yep. Jeff, I'm gonna pause just for a second. You got out of the server that we were in, the video thing. So you have to come back in. I sent the link in there. You're gonna have to come back in so we can get your audio on here, because we hear you on here. The folks don't hear you on the live stream. Yeah. You're good. You're fine. I promise. So
in the short term.
In the short term, you go ahead.
So in the short term,
yeah.
And we'll get Jeff here in just a minute.
Yeah, we'll get him set up.
To talk about our radar returned, and why some may be seeing precip and others not. Our folks in South Arkansas, as we mentioned, throughout the entire week, we talked about this possibility of that warm nose being too strong and seeing more of a freezing rain and or sleet event out of this.
Yep.
Cameron mentioned it also this morning as well. And unfortunately, that has come to fruition for our folks in South Arkansas. where especially along the 82 corridor,
Yep.
we are seeing a potentially significant setup for icing throughout the overnight hours.
Jeff, you can go ahead and talk. You may have to unmute yourself over here. We can do a quick audio check. Go ahead. No, it's not pulling up for some reason. Let me see what's going on. Because for some
Not my fault.
reason, yeah, you're in the room, but for some reason your audio's not coming through here, guys. So, Derek, can you carry us for a little bit
Yeah.
while we're trying
Yeah,
to get this worked out?
Yeah, no problem at all, Cameron.
Yeah.
So again, as we talked about our folks in South Arkansas, we are dealing with that mix of sleet and freezing rain, a lot of freezing rain because of that warm air aloft coming in. Again, very expected with this type of system. It is very strong. You have moisture coming out of the Pacific and the Gulf of Mexico as well. As our jet stream, as our low jet continues to pull in overnight, that we will see more of a warm nose come in, especially for our folks across southern and southeastern Arkansas. And our concern is that the heavy snow line and the mixed line could actually set up somewhere between the Malvern, Pine Bluff, Sheridan area point south, where there could be a cutoff from several inches of snow to more of an ice and sleet type of event. And that's when I'll be finishing as snow tomorrow morning. But again, everybody's going to see snow out of this event, except for our folks in far southeast Arkansas, where this should remain mainly a sleet and freezing rain event.
Yeah.
But on the backside of the road, we will see that transition. As we mentioned, for our folks in northeast Arkansas, we are dealing with a lot of dry air issues still. It does take time. Our main system is still out west. It's still far west of Dallas. So it still has to, and our low on the Gulf Coast is still developing. So until that develops, we won't be able to overcome those dry air issues further east.
And Jeff, can you do me two things? Jeff, can you do me a quick favor and speak for me? I think I may have fixed the issue. I don't know why he's not being picked up over here. That is weird. He's not being. Okay, we'll have to we're gonna have to figure this out. I'll still work on it over here. But the second thing is, first of all, the comments that are coming in saying that we're way off. I'm gonna take a look in eastern, northeastern Arkansas.
The event is just getting started.
It's just getting started, folks. Okay, y'all are gonna have to be patient. You're gonna have to. That's how it is with Arkansas weather. You gotta be patient with it. So, my folks in eastern and northeastern Arkansas, you see all that precipitation that's in central and west Arkansas right now? That will help to get your environment saturated, and that's where you're going to get the snowfall potential here, guys. Okay? So, quit it with the whole it's not going to snow or it's hype and all that. Folks, we told you guys this from the get-go, that the drier air was going to have to be worked out. That's how it is. It's going to have to be worked out. Whenever you deal with an Arctic cold air mass like this, there are dry air that you have to work out in order to get the precipitation. It was like that in western Arkansas first thing this morning. It was like here in central Arkansas right around lunch. And now you guys in eastern and northeastern Arkansas are now dealing with it as well. It will happen. You're going to wake up first thing in the morning, and you're going to have snow up there in eastern and northeastern Arkansas. I want to make that crystal clear. I promise you guys, we would not be sitting here talking about a winter storm for eastern northeastern Arkansas if we didn't think it was going to happen. So South Arkansas down there, we think that actually, Jeff, I'm gonna try to get you fixed. I just saw it over there. Southern and southeast Arkansas, we're still dealing with the sleet and the freezing rain down there. But in eastern and northeastern Arkansas, the biggest thing is it's gonna have to work out some dry air here. And Brad, I want to stress this. The overall event, there wasn't a dry air issue here. We said at first you were going to have to work out some dry air, but it wasn't going to kill your entire event. Your event is still, as a matter of fact, I'll be honest with you, this event is overperforming for some folks over there in western and central Arkansas. So this event is just now getting started, guys, okay? Be patient, relax. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. You know, we have a lot of folks that are, you know, spent a lot of money on groceries and canceled plans and stuff like that. We get it. We promise, guys. Okay? But right now, you're going to have to be patient here in eastern northeast Arkansas because it's got to work that dry air out because your system is still out towards the west and southwest. And then it will move into eastern and the northeastern Arkansas later tonight. First thing, you wake up first thing in the morning, you're going to see that snow in eastern northeast Arkansas. I guarantee you. That activity that's in central Arkansas right now is moving into eastern and northeastern Arkansas. So, Derek, I'm going to try to fix this. Wait, did we fix this audio issue? I'm not sure if we did or not. I'm gonna try to fix that, but you can go ahead.
Yep. All right. So, you know, as we mentioned, you know, so again, you know, dry air issues in northeast Arkansas, and of course, as we mentioned, also you have that warm nose issue in southern Arkansas. As we go throughout the night, our atmosphere will continue to cool down, and that's when we will start to see that transition to snow across more areas around the state.
Yeah.
But again, our forecast, you know, is well on track. Everything is on track exactly how it should be.
Everything's on track.
You know, hey Cameron, let's go to our timing map.
Yeah.
In the short term.
I got you.
Here.
One second. There we go.
So again, you know, as we talked about, you know, the main time frame for to start seeing the winter weather across eastern Arkansas was going to be after 6 p.m. And we saw this with this event. You know, starting in West Arkansas. With a lot of dry air issued across central and east, and this entire swath had to come across the state. That's why your timing was earlier west and later into the overnight hours across eastern Arkansas. You know, so far, you know, except for our folks in Mount Home and Searcy, you know, we're not seeing a lot of snowfall yet. But everywhere else within this area, we are seeing some sort of preset, be it snow, be it freezing rain, be it sleet. We are seeing our temperatures at or below freezing statewide right now, except for our folks in far southeast Arkansas, which again was also our fault because you have that warm, moist air coming out of the Gulf and moving into the state.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, Mandy, didn't understand this too. Remember, this wasn't at first. This was supposed to be a pretty progressive system through Arkansas. Then things started to slow down. Your precipitation shield is still back out towards Texas, the Texas Panhandle, and even in some cases back out towards New Mexico. All that energy in the Southwest has to come out, and that's what's going to happen here. So it's going to be a rather long duration event for us here in Arkansas here. But Western Arkansas, you've seen the snow. Central Arkansas, you've seen it. Northern, Northwest, you've seen it. Eastern and Northeastern Arkansas, yes, you're late to the party, but you're going to see it here. Biggest thing is when to pay attention is going to be pretty much over the next hour or so because your precipitation is going to start to erode this dry air up here in Northeastern Arkansas, and then that's when you're going to get the precipitation up here. So everybody else in this zone, about 75%, has already seen the snow and will continue to see the snow, especially in western, central, and into northern Arkansas. Southwest Arkansas and southern Arkansas, you guys will see a combination. We told you guys about this too, that wintry mix of heavy rain, sleet, freezing rain, and snow, just kind of creating a mess down there in southern Arkansas here, guys. Okay, so we understand, we get it, we know a lot of people are still waiting on the snow, guys. You gotta have patience. If you don't have patience, it's time to learn it. That's how it is. You gotta be patient with Arkansas weather, because Arkansas weather don't care if you've been waiting for 2 days. Like, it will take its sweet time to get to your area here. That's just how it is. That's how it is living down here in Arkansas. So yeah, go ahead.
So far across the state, Cameron, let's go to the accumulation map.
Yep. Sure
because obviously, you know, this is going to be for a storm total. Now, this is for the entire event from noon today through 6 p.m. tomorrow night.
Yep.
Again, this is a long duration event. You know, we have a long way to go.
Yep.
I will say this, Mina, we've already hit our forecast, or we're getting very close to it.
I think we may have hit it.
As of right now, we have about 6 to 7 inches of Mina. Right now, I'm seeing reports of about 2 to 3 across Pulaski County, about 4 in Sonny County, 4 in Hot Springs area, already up to 5 in Mount Ida. And again, for our folks in Hope, like Arkadelphia, D Queen, Pine Bluff, it's going to come much later.
Yep.
And you know that cutoff thread is still there. But as we go deeper into the night, is when we will see that transition for our folks in South Arkansas into the day tomorrow as our system pulls away.
Yeah.
But by the time you get that transition, we will be seeing that low pull away, so your moisture will pull away.
Yeah. So our folks in this area from the 9 to 12 range, majority of this is going to come through during the overnight hours tonight. I mentioned this first thing this morning. For those that were watching the live stream here, this localized area of 12 plus right through here. This is going to be very, 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 very crucial. I would not be surprised. I think my money's on Mina, maybe the Mount Ida, Glenwood area. Somebody rack up a foot of snow out of this situation here. I want to stress, because somebody's going to come in the comments, they're going to be like, I haven't seen a flake over here in eastern Arkansas. It's going to happen, okay? Jonesboro, Walnut Ridge, Blytheville, these areas over here, it's going to happen. You get it to the overnight hours, you're going to wake up first thing in the morning, you're going to have that snow up there in eastern northeast Arkansas, 100% guarantee. If it wasn't going to happen, we'd be sitting here telling you it wasn't going to happen. Go ahead.
You know, and you folks in northeast Arkansas, eastern Arkansas, you know, y'all have really almost another 24 hours still left. You know, I would say, you know, at least through 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon of snowfall to go. Yeah. So you have a long way to go with this event. You know, our folks in West Arkansas, we have through at least noon tomorrow. Our folks across the central third of the state, we have through at least early afternoon with this as well. So again, you know, it's a long duration event. So if you haven't had snowfall yet, you know, patience is key to it, because as your dry air erodes, there's plenty of moisture with this. As a matter of fact, there's more moisture in the atmosphere than what was anticipated. Yep. So as this continues to push northeast, you will get that changeover, especially as our low continues to develop, and we eventually get that Gulf moisture as well, overlapping with our Pacific moisture overnight. Yeah.
Folks, I'm just reading the comments right now. I don't know what's going on, but you gotta have patience with this system, guys. And we've been stressing this for the last couple of events, stuff like that. This is a storm total. This is gonna be dragged out. I'm gonna pull up Eden's comment, because he nailed it right on the board. This event's not over with, guys. It's gonna snow all night long. This is what's not supposed. I don't know why people think this. This was not supposed to be a 2 to 3 hour event. That's it. Folks, this is going to be, and I'm going to make this crystal clear, a long duration event. From now through tonight through tomorrow. This is a long duration event for us here in Arkansas. You are not going to get a foot of snow within 2 hours. It's not going to be like that, okay? This is a long duration event. You got to learn patience. You got to. You're going to have to with this event, guys. It's going to be from right now through tonight and through tomorrow here, guys. Okay? It is going to snow all night long. This is not going to end in the next hour or two. We got all that moisture that's coming out from the southwest. Matter of fact, I will do this. I will show you current radar real quick. Let's take a look. Okay? There's your storm system. All this energy back out here, this still has to come through Arkansas. All that energy back out there towards New Mexico and Texas, etc., all of that has to move into Arkansas. You see all that down there in Texas, all that rain down there, it has to move into Arkansas. That's what we're saying. This is going to be a long duration event. This is what's going to end up happening here, guys. Okay, so folks that are trying to get out tomorrow, stuff like that, the travel is going to be a nightmare tomorrow, guys. Okay, Matter of fact, I could get this up real quick. This is from iDrive real fast. Let me see if I can do this. This is on 6:30 right now. Snow-covered roads. It's going to get even worse throughout the overnight hours here, guys. Okay, so there is a ton of moisture coming here, guys, that is going to produce the snow here. We wouldn't be sitting here talking about a winter storm or talking about snow or anything like that if it wasn't going to happen, guys. Okay, we could care less about the likes, shares, and all that. We are here to give you guys accurate information here. So this is from downtown Little Rock right now here. I love the fact, by the way, and we pointed this out earlier, Derek, we hardly have anybody on the roads.
Yep.
Like, I love seeing that, guys. Great job, guys. This is what we wanted to see with the winter storm in place here. We have probably the folks that are out there right now are essential workers or the ones that are getting off at 7 or 8 o'clock and stuff like that. But you can see, look at there. This is 6:30, Interstate 6:30 on a Wednesday evening. Normally, this is jam-packed by 7 o'clock. Oh, Thursday. Why did I say Wednesday? Thursday, excuse me. Normally, this is jam-packed. Yeah. 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 I can't get his audio for some reason. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Basically what Jeff was saying is the surface streets don't look terrible right now, which is good. And as you can see, there's RDOT passing through and everything like that. So I just love seeing this.
RDOT has done an incredible job.
They're doing an incredible job.
Pre-treating the roads.
Yeah.
Ahead of this event as well.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to them as well. Now, not all roads look this way though, because it's, as a matter of fact, I-30 around Social Hill is a completely different setup right now.
Yeah.
I-30 there is totally opposite. A lot of traffic jams and stuff there. I-40 up around the Moulton area, a lot of backlog and basically stopped because of wrecks, because of traffic accidents. A lot of it is people just trying to get home, and one thing about it is most of your accidents start in the first initial phase of a winter storm, because that's when your first initial moisture is hitting the streets, refreezing. That's when we start to see everybody's getting home at once, trying to get off the roads, and that's when your greatest threat of accidents are. As we go deeper into the event, we start to see less accidents and stuff like that because you're not dealing with the amount of paid people on the road.
Yeah.
Plus, this type of snow is a lot easier to drive on.
It's that heavy, wet snow, that lumpy, wet snow, so it's easier to travel on. But what's going to happen is when your temperatures fall, all that moisture that's on the roads is going to freeze, like you just mentioned. It's going to freeze over. So that's where your travel issues are going to start being an issue here, guys. Okay, so the biggest thing is, so there's your snowfall total across the board. This is pretty much still on track. There has not been any changes here. Eastern Arkansas, the drier air still needs to be worked out over there, but it will not take long. Like, it won't. It will not take long whatsoever. Once that moisture really starts getting into eastern, northeastern Arkansas, snow totals will start to pile up there, but it's just going to be later on this evening and into tonight. Everybody else, fair game. We can take a look at the iDrive camera. Give me 1 second. And by the way, I'm gonna have to fix this audio issue after the live stream. For some reason, it's just not coming through. We could try and see, but it's just not. For some reason, we can't. Oh wait, Jeff, do me a favor. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you guys hear him? Can you guys hear Jeff on the live stream? If you can, let me know. If we can, that'll be
Hello,
great.
this is Jeff. If anyone can hear me, please let me know. Or please let us know.
Touchdown. We got him. Okay, awesome, guys. Okay, now we can. Yes. There we go.
So now let's go back to the radar.
Yep. Okay.
And now we can have Jeff explain as to why And we kind of hit on this, but as to why you were saying precip on the radar,
Mhm.
but it's not reaching the ground.
Okay. So, first
Okay.
of all, Jeff, can you do us a big favor and introduce yourself to our folks and tell them why you're so
Well, hello,
important?
everybody. I am Jeff Baskin, meteorologist. I was formerly with Fox 16, KLRT, and Channel 4 here in Little Rock. So I've been following Arkansas weather for about 15 years or so. So I'm not really new to the game here. I've seen a few winter storms, including some big ones, and this one is actually one of the bigger ones. Now we've had a couple years in a row with some rather blockbuster storms. February of 21, three storms in a row. Last January we had a large snowstorm, and that came with very very cold temperatures. This snowstorm, in terms of amounts, actually looks somewhat similar, possibly even outperforming the one from last year. The big difference from this January snowstorm to the previous one is the previous one was unusually cold. This one is not. This one is a little bit more of your typical Arkansas snow, where it's barely cold enough to snow. We're talking about temperatures 30, 31 degrees, not 15 and 16 degrees.
Yeah.
But when the temperature is that close, that can come with some big forecast challenges, especially when it comes to precipitation type, because we're close to that changeover from all snow to a mix to rain. And it's a very small change in temperature that can make that difference, especially when you're looking at not just the temperature near the ground, but the temperature above the ground. Because you can have these warm layers come at a couple thousand feet up, and what'll happen is, even if it's still only 32 degrees at the ground, if it warms up to 33, 34 degrees a few thousand feet above the ground, well, that snow starts to melt, and it comes to the ground as maybe a sleet mix, rain snow mix, or possibly freezing rain, and then you don't wind up with those accumulations. The radar when you look at the color on the radar, it might very well show, hey, it's snowing, but you look around and go, wait a minute, this doesn't really look like snow, because the radar isn't able to capture every single level of the atmosphere at once and how precipitation changes as it falls vertically. The radar beam basically goes through one level at a time, and that's how it determines what is going on at that level. So the radar doesn't have all the information to go on. It kind of makes its best guess. So when it comes to the precipitation type that you see on the radar, sometimes you have to be careful, because right now as well, it's actually gone back to the orange in Arkadelphia, indicating that sleet mix. But you saw it go dark blue for a while. So if you're around Arkadelphia, you might be thinking it should be snowing like crazy based on the radar, but I'm really not seeing that much going on. What is going on? Well, there's a couple things going on. One, you have that warm layer that's moved in aloft, and so some of that rain or some of that snow is melting before hitting the ground. But
Yeah, but if
the
I'm correct, that's going to be
radar doesn't
your
necessarily
correlation
know that,
coefficient,
and
right? If I didn't mean to cut you off. That's where your correlation
oh
coefficient,
yeah, you
correct?
can look at you can look
Yes,
at
sir.
a product called the correlation coefficient,
That's going to be
which
this.
lets you see the melting layer of that level of the radar that it's looking at. But you got to remember that when you're looking at single site radar,
Mhm.
that radar beam is getting higher and higher the farther you go out. So it can tell you the elevation of, or how high the melting layer is, and if there is a melting layer.
Yeah.
So that's one of the products that we look at to determine, is there some sort of sleet mix? Is there a snow mix?
You can see
And in
it.
this situation, you see that like around Arkadelphia,
Yep.
you see those brighter colors,
Hmm.
and that indicates the radar is seeing droplets of different sizes. So it's seeing a mixture of snowflakes, maybe some sleet, some raindrops, and so it's seeing that the the types of returns are different.
Yep.
What that means is that they're not correlated as much. So that gives you a lower correlation coefficient. Kind of like how when we talk about correlation coefficient during severe
Well,
weather and tornadoes,
yes, sir.
if you have rain, everything that the radar sees looks similar. If you have debris, it's all over the place. And so the tornado can show up as really big drop in the correlation coefficient. In winter weather, we still use correlation coefficient, but not necessarily for severe weather, not for debris, but it can show us where we see droplets of, or we see a lot of things of different sizes and shapes that the radar is seeing, and that leads to a lower correlation coefficient. Usually, that's you see that in your melting layer, and if you have a melting layer just above the ground, that means you're probably going to have some mixed precipitation in a situation like that, like this. And this is that's exactly what we're seeing. So
Definitely.
sometimes these radar algorithms will also use exactly they'll use the actual observations from these sites,
Yeah.
uh, and that can be confusing too because some of these sites don't necessarily interpret what's going on quite right with mixed precipitation. I'm going to give you an example.
Mhm.
So I'm looking at the observation from Arkadelphia, right,
Yeah.
and it is showing light snow.
Mhm.
So okay, it's snowing in Arkadelphia. The radar looks like it's snowing, but when you dig into it a little more, maybe it's not really snow that station is seeing. Look at the visibility. That visibility is showing, well, now it's down to 3 miles. It was 4 miles. Well, that's not very heavy snow at all. If that's snow, that's just very very light snow flurries. But the radar is showing really heavy precipitation. So wait a minute, what's going on here? Now, in the comments of that observation, you really got to dig in here a little bit. There's a little code that says FZRANO.
Yes,
What that
sir.
code means is that that station does not detect freezing rain.
Right.
So it's making its best guess as to whether it's rain or it's snow. And in this case, it's guessing it's snow, especially since the temperature is below freezing. Now, if
So,
this station was able to detect freezing rain, it would probably show freezing rain
mhm.
and not light snow. And those radar algorithms that are using those surface observations would show Arkadelphia as having freezing rain and not light snow. So sometimes by using some of those actual surface observations, that can throw off the radar because the surface observations, some of those automated observing stations, uh, have certain limitations when it comes to mixed preset.
first of all, thank you so much for that lesson. This is Jeff Baskin, guys. This is the meteorologist we have on our staff. This is the man that helps us out with the graphics and everything like that.
Mhm.
This is the reason why he's here. Okay. Second of all, our folks in eastern and northeastern Arkansas, once again, you're going to get snow. Okay. Just sit down, relax. Just it's gonna happen. Okay. I promise you. You guys were not expecting anything eastern, northeastern Arkansas up there here. Okay. So that's why we've been sitting here telling you guys, what you're seeing on radar and stuff like that. Everybody's seeing a lot of things tonight. Some folks are seeing a good amount of snow. Some folks are seeing sleet. Some folks are seeing freezing rain, etc. It's gonna be that combination here. This is our forecast right now is on track. There's no changes to it whatsoever. Nothing has changed with this forecast here. Jeff, I just saw you pulled your camera up. So I can
Yeah,
pull
I
one
did. I
more.
mean, I wasn't really, I
I
wasn't
can.
planning on being in public today, but I just pulled it up. So
Okay.
I got my
Um,
Give me a second. I
so
can
webcam
get you
going.
up.
one thing
There you go.
I do want to mention.
I'll get you a nice name tag too. Don't worry.
So one thing I do want to mention as well about this is that the latest sounding from the National Weather Service in Little Rock
Mhm.
is starting to show that warm nose.
Yeah.
It's currently that dew point and temperature at right about 700 millibars is sitting right at 32. It's currently 28 at the surface,
Yeah.
32 aloft. So you either get a really heavy snow out of this, or you're about to see a quick transition to sleet for a
Very
little bit of
quick.
period of time
Very, very
until we
quick.
get our cold air wrapped back into our system again. There's going to be a lot of moisture. There is a absolute loaded gun of moisture coming out of the Pacific Ocean
Yeah.
that is going to be moving across the state overnight. So even if we see a brief period of sleet here and there, especially north of our transition line, we will see that transition back throughout the overnight hours.
Yes, sir. Jeff, I got you a name tag coming up, buddy. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
I'm over here. I'm over here working on it right now. So give me just 1 second.
But But overall, though, y'all, the forecast has been on track. One thing about it is when it comes to seeing, when it comes to seeing what the weather across the state, it is never a perfect forecast.
I love
I've been,
Yeah.
because just to give y'all a little bit of background, I did study a little bit of meteorology down at ULM. I didn't finish, for family obligations. But coupled with that, a lot of self-taught from early on in my, in my life, plus growing up in the state, learning and knowing our patterns, knowing our weather, knowing how geography affects it, knowing how our patterns, from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year change in the state. There's a lot of different things that go into it. And that's why, when you're forecasting within this state, you have to think into so many different things compared to several states around the country. Because, and Jeff, Cameron both, can back me up on this, that this state is unique when it comes to forecasting all types of weather, be it severe weather, winter weather, tropical weather, whatever.
Yeah. There you go, Jeff. I got you a nice name tag, buddy.
Oh, thank you. I feel very special now.
Yeah. Goodness gracious, guys. So that's just the biggest thing that we're just kind of going over right now is the lack. We've got the lack of snow up northeast Arkansas right now. That's being worked out. I promise you. The accumulations are still on the board right now. Let's take a look just kind of across the state right now on the RDOT camera, on the iDrive camera here. First off, before we do that, I want to kind of talk about this because I don't know if you mentioned this earlier. This is the mesoscale section from the Storm Prediction Center here. And pretty much they highlighted the central part of the state for the potential of seeing a combination of winter precipitation that will include the potential of 1 inch per hour snowfall rates or more across the area here. As we move into the overnight hours, that's as a result of your system starting to come in. And everything like that here, guys. Okay?
And this is in addition. Yeah. This is in addition to what has already fallen across. Especially from the Metro West.
Yeah.
This afternoon and this evening, and again, this is going to move. This will move east with time towards the Memphis Metro, towards Jonesboro. Up into northeast Arkansas as well. Mm-hmm. Our ratios will be different up there than what they will be along I-40, but again. Typically, what you get on the northern side of a transition zone is a heavy snow band that will set up somewhere just north of that zone.
Yeah. So give me just 1 second here. Kim, can you do me a big favor and check the upper staff chat? I don't want that person blocked. That person, I will explain later, is a very important person. So. Let me go over to the iDrive camera real quick with you guys. And let me go over to, let's take a look across the central part of the state real quick. This is in Little Rock. The roads right now, slushy and snow covered right now here across the state. And take a look at here across southwestern Arkansas. I have a key somewhere in here. There we go. So basically, you're looking at the roadways over here in western Arkansas, northwestern Arkansas, snow covered, pretty much snow covered across the area here. Down here in southwest Arkansas, it's centered here. A lot of ice, and a couple of things that's standing out right now. Do you see these little kind of hazard signs right through here? That's Central Arkansas, Hot Springs, etc. These are all the traffic incidents right now here, guys. I want to stress this. You have to get out tonight, folks. Please, 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 please slow down on the roadways. The surface roads aren't terrible, but if you're speeding at 70, 80, 90 miles per hour, you're going to hit an ice patch, and it's going to cause hydroplaning, you guys. So please take it easy on the roadways. I understand the urgency of trying to get back to the house because you have a winter storm, etc. The roadways are not in good shape right now, okay? So... exclamation signs. Thank you, Adam. My mind just blanked for a second. I was trying to figure out what that was. So these are all incidents. These are all accidents right now here across Central Arkansas, near Hot Springs, near Russellville. These are all accidents right now. So, folks, if you got to get out, if you have to, I understand. We have essential workers, etc. If you have to get out, please be careful here across the board. Okay, so. Let's go back over to radar here, and we can kind of answer some questions here. What we're gonna do is kind of take turns like we did the last couple of events. I'll answer a question, Derek will answer a question, and you guys can ask Jeff Baskin a couple of questions as well here. And folks, by the way, on YouTube, Damon is a awesome guy. Okay, that was a joke. We joke around like that. We're like that in the weather community. Just don't, just don't. He didn't mean any offense about that, guys. That's just how we joke around here.
So, brand new report.
Yeah, go ahead. What you got?
Coming in from the metro. 3 inches of snow official now. So
Here in Little Rock?
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So
what we're gonna do is go back over to radar and time for questions. So for folks that have questions, this is the time now to ask you guys. Okay. I wanna do what?
So just coming in
Okay.
from from RDOT.
Yeah.
Avoid the Big Rock interchange at 6:30 and 4:30.
Uh-huh.
Cars are starting to spin out, and we're starting to get a lot more freezing on the roadway there because your traffic is lowering.
Yeah.
So they're asking you to avoid the Big Rock interchange.
Yeah. So I'm gonna answer some questions here, guys, and this one is from Ryan. You guys said earlier in the stream that you saw some overperformance in Western and Central Arkansas. Do you expect that to continue or level out overnight? Who wants to take this question? Derek or Jeff?
Let Jeff go for it.
Yeah, Jeff.
I'll go ahead and take it. Right now, I think that the storm will continue to overperform, just mainly based on radar trends, satellite trends, showing that we have a very dynamic storm system. We have a lot of moisture in place. We're also starting to get more in the way of some Gulf moisture moving north through Texas, feeding this storm system. During the day, really over the last 24 hours or so, most of the guidance has actually seen an increase in the amount of overall precipitation. Uh, and that trend lends me to think that there's more of a chance of of a overperformance on the storm than an underperformance. If the trend was the other way around, I'd be concerned that, well, this may not quite perform as we were thinking. Usually, as we get into the storm itself, and we are into it, we can usually tell uh, are things coming together. How confident are we that the ingredients are coming together? And right now, if you're a winter weather lover, especially for central Arkansas and even northern Arkansas, this is really the best case scenario because we have ingredients coming together. We have enough cold air, just enough. Um, we have the dynamic storm system coming on through. We have the widespread precipitation. We have pretty much everything is coming together for that. Now, for those in Arkansas, especially say south of Melbourne, from Pine Bluff southward, including Ashdown, Hope, Camden, the Rison area, DeWitt, there is going to be a lot more of a mix, and that's going to greatly cut down on those snow accumulation. Does that mean you'll get no snow at all? Probably not, because as the storm moves by, as that area of low pressure moves by to our south, that flow becomes more northerly again. Those temperatures above the surface will start to cool down likely before the precipitation ends, and you'll end up with some snow. Will it be a lot? Well, I think for those of you in South Arkansas, no, I don't think it's going to be a lot, but it is going to be something, and I think it's still going to be impactful, especially with temperatures near or below freezing. There's going to be some slippery spots. There's going to be some difficult travel. So there is going to be impacts even across South Arkansas. This isn't going to be, a nothing event where it's all rain. There could be a couple areas like that. I think that may be limited to areas such as, say, from Crossett and Eudora, south of Lake Village. Some areas in extreme southeast Arkansas may never really get a changeover to snow, and with temperature a couple degrees above freezing, even that mixed precipitation may not wind up being that big of a deal. But for a winter storm to impact this, for the same winter storm to impact 90% of Arkansas is actually pretty amazing when you think about it, because a lot of times, winter weather event may impact a third of the state. I mean, how many times have we said, "Oh, well, there may be some good snowfall accumulations, but it's going to be well north of I-40. It's going to be within a couple counties away from Missouri, or it's maybe going to be northwest Arkansas, or maybe just western Arkansas, or just northeast." That we see those situations quite commonly. but we don't typically see these big widespread situations where just about everybody in the state is at least going to get something. Now, not everybody is going to get pounded with a foot of snow, but there are going to be some locations, especially in west central Arkansas. I would not be surprised when it's all said and done to get a foot of snow. I'm thinking areas such as like around, say, Story, Montgomery County, southern Yell County, possibly some of the higher elevations of Garland County, north of Hot Springs. Some of those areas may have localized accumulations of up to a foot. Uh, but
Hey,
I think,
Jeff.
more in general, it's probably going to be in the 7 to 9 inch range for most of us.
Yeah, Jeff, there's been some comments about I think your audio may be cutting in and out. You sound fine on my end.
Same thing over here.
So I'm not sure what that's about. You may have to back out and come back in. But it sounds fine on my earpiece that I'm listening to. It sounds good on my end. So yeah, I'm not sure what that's about. You guys might have to back out and come back in here. But Kim said the same thing. She's listening in on her phone and says he sounded fine. So you may have to back out of the stream and then come back in.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not sure what that's about, but yeah. So, let me see. We try to take some questions here, guys. Okay, so what are the chances of way less snow than originally thought here, guys? First and foremost, Jennifer, thank you for your question, by the way. The snowfall total is still on track. There has not been any changes with us at National Weather Service or anything like that. This forecast is still on track. What's going on right now here, and we said this morning, we said it yesterday, we said it the day before. What's going on right now here is this is working out some drier air that's in place. You got to remember, folks, you just had an Arctic cold front push through here. Okay, so you naturally had the dry air in place. Now you're trying to get the moisture back over said cold air. It's got to work out some dry air. It's going to take a second or two. It's not going to happen instantly. Some folks, I know here in Little Rock, it took a little bit of time, I think 20 to 30 minutes, and then it started snowing very, very rapidly here. So it's going to take some time for the environment, especially in eastern northeast Arkansas, to kind of work itself out. It will happen overnight. The forecast has not changed or anything like that. I say the chances of less snow, very, very low across the area here. I think everything is still on track and everything like that. I know there's a lot of impatient people out there right now that are waiting for the snow. I get it, we do, but you got to give the environment time to work itself out because there is some dry air in place that it's got to get through. Once it punches through, you'll notice it too, because if you were here in Little Rock earlier this afternoon, you've noticed it. Once it punched through that dry air, those snowflakes were huge. They were $half, maybe dollar-sized snowflakes earlier on this afternoon if you were here in Little Rock or you're in western Arkansas, etc. So it's going to take some time for it to work through that dry air. It will happen. If there was the potential of a bust, all three of us right here in our entire team, we'd be the first to tell you, be like, hey, look, we messed up on the forecast. Snowfall totals are coming down, etc. The forecast has not changed whatsoever, guys. Okay. So everybody said Jeff sounded good on their end. I'm not sure what that was about.
Yeah.
So you guys may have to back out and back in. I'm not. Yeah, they did a page refresh and they're good. So not sure what that's about. But let me see here. So do you still think it'd be okay to drive Saturday morning in Little Rock? Derek, I'll let you take that one.
So, as we mentioned, last night and really for several of the days, again, even though this system will finally pull out tomorrow night, we're still going to be dealing with, a lot of freezing. It is going to take, several days, especially for our back roads, to clear off, those main roads, Sunday afternoon, because we're really not going to see, because typically what you have when you have a lot of snowfall like this is that the sun's heat is reflected off that snow back into the atmosphere. So you don't really get that warming that you get on a normal day. So basically overnight on Friday night, we will see those temperatures drop off into the teens, especially in areas that see a lot of snowfall.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, you'll see a lot of refreezing on the roadways overnight Friday night. Well, well, RDOT will do good to get those main roads cleared off. A lot of your city roads, a lot of your back roads, will still be bad throughout much of the day on Saturday. Even with sunshine, we barely get above freezing, especially in central and north Arkansas, because we do still have our Arctic eye off to our northeast that is still pumping in those cold winds off of snowpack to our northeast, and now you have a snowpack here as well. So it's going to keep those temps in. I really think by Sunday we start to see a lot of improvement Monday, Tuesday, etc.
Yeah. So, let's see. I got some South Arkansas folks here. I think there's one near Strong area down there in Southeast Arkansas. Unfortunately, I'll take this one. I'll be the one to give the bad news down here in Southeast Arkansas. There is the potential down there that you may just stay a cold rain. Now, here's the deal. There could be some freezing rain, maybe some sleet, maybe a little bit of snow down there. But I think down there in Southeast Arkansas, Southeast Arkansas, we're talking Crosset, Eldo, etc. You guys will mix from time to time. But in terms of heavy snow, etc., not expecting it down there. And for southeastern Arkansas here, that includes the Strong area, the El Dorado area, etc. here. So, Jacob, we mentioned this earlier on too. What's going on here is, I'm gonna go back to this real quick. I think this will answer a lot of questions. This is what we call the relative humidity across the board. Okay, you notice how your humidity is near 100% over here in western and southwest Arkansas, and into Texas and then Oklahoma, where you're getting the precipitation right now. That means your column at the lowest levels is pretty saturated. Okay, for our folks in eastern and northeastern Arkansas, you notice a lower over here, 70%, etc. This means that there's some dry air. Now here's what's going to end up happening over the next couple of hours. You go from 70, and you notice how your dry air dissipates up there in eastern northeast Arkansas. Humidity rises to 80 to 90%, and that's where you're going to get the snowfall here. So folks that are not seeing anything right now, it's just the environment working itself out. You got to work that dryer out when you're trying to add moisture into the situation here, and it will take time. It's going to happen this evening into the night, first thing in the morning, but it's going to happen. Okay, it's just going to take some time to kind of mix through. Our folks down here in Pine Bluff, you're seeing this right now, and you're saying, okay, well, why does it look like snow on radar, but you go outside and it's not snow? Like Jeff mentioned before, you have what's called a melting layer just south of Little Rock, just south of the metro. And what's going on with that is it's causing that snow to melt, and it's refreezing as it hits the surface, which causes sleet. So you guys are seeing that snow and sleet right now. Eventually, you guys will transition over to all snow as the low deepens and moves to the northeast. The colder air aloft starts moving in deeper. You will transition over. Like we mentioned before, you're going to see the snow, guys. Okay? This is, if it was something that, if this was the bust potential, I will be the first one to sit here and tell you what's going to happen. We do it all the time with severe weather. Like, if we got a lot of rain coming in with severe weather, we'll be the first to tell you, like, look, this is a bust. It's all over with. But it's not. There's been no change with the forecast, no change with the accumulation amounts. It's just, it's going to take time. That's just how it is. You're just going to have to wait and see. First thing in the morning, you're going to see exactly what we're talking about here, okay? So let me see here. Thank you so much for your efforts and your information. We appreciate all these comments, guys. What are the odds of Southwest Arkansas losing power here?
Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff, you want to take that one?
As far as power potential, power loss potential, there is some across mainly South Arkansas, and that's because of the freezing rain. Ice has a much, when it comes to power impact, has a much greater potential to cause problems than snow does. This is a pretty wet, heavy snow, but this is a situation where it's going to bring down power lines. Sometimes if you get a snow that's unusually late in the season, like a spring snow, and you already have leaves on the trees, that can bring down tree branches and that can cause problems. Or if you get a really early season snow and there's still leaves on the trees, snow has a greater chance of causing those problems. But during the middle of winter, when you don't have leaves on the trees, uh,
You may be able to pull them
wet
down.
snow
Yeah.
typically isn't going to cause as much of a problem.
Good. Yeah. So, let me see here. So, let me go over the comments real quickly here. So, we've seen some reports about this on, on social media and stuff like that about the potential of seeing thunder snow. Um, Derek or Jeff
I'm
or
going to let
yeah,
Jeff take this one as well
yeah.
because this is something we've talked about. That's a slight possibility, but with these convective bands, Jeff, I mean, we see this a lot.
And I know Dennis Kavanaugh, National Service Little Rock, he mentioned, I can't remember the exact term. I think it's called CSI banding. I can't remember the exact word, the exact terminology. I know it's some sort of instability. I have to go back and look.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
know,
there's convective banding is definitely something that
yeah,
can happen. I don't really see it happening in this storm. It did happen in the February 21 storm. I
mhm,
do remember that, and it looked like there was that possibility. In this, I don't see it quite as much. I am looking at some convective parameters right now to see how it looks, and honestly, I don't see it. I'm not seeing a real good unstable layer above the surface, and I just don't see that coming together. Uh, this is going to be more from large scale forcing than
mhm,
convective banding. Um, so it's going to be, you might not get those really, really intense bursts of snow like we had in the February 21 event, but this is going to be over many hours, and it's going to be fairly steady. So where that February 21 event, which brought really high snowfall rates, I mean sometimes up to 2-3 inches per hour,
you
I
were
don't think we're
cold
going to
too.
get into those snowfall rates. I think we'll be
Yeah,
more towards snowfall rates approaching half inch to an inch an hour.
yeah,
But you add up all those hours, and that's still a lot of snow.
yeah.
So to answer that question bluntly, no, I don't think that we're going to see thunder snow, and I don't really think we're going to localize enhancements due to convective banding.
Yeah, boy. Um, so the Russellville area here from Jessica, she's already gotten 4 inches of snow, and that's going to continue throughout tonight here. So this is what we mean. We've got folks in Western Arkansas, Central Arkansas, etc., that has seen the snow. They're getting a good amount of snow, so it's going to take time for it to get to the eastern and northeastern part of the state here. But yeah, thank you for that report here. That's a good amount of snow, and it's going to continue to pile up as we move into the overnight hours here. Okay, so when do we expect this all to melt? First and foremost, Jeff, I don't know if you've seen this yet from the Climate Prediction Center. There's a heavy snow risk that's already been issued for, I think it is the 17th through the 23rd time frame. I know there's a lot of uncertainty, like kind of was with this one. There's a lot of uncertainty with it, but I know they've already put that out for the northern half of the state. We can talk about that later on. But when can we expect all this to melt?
I think we're going to see quite a bit of melting on Sunday. Uh, Tomorrow, for Saturday, we're going to still be pretty cold.
Mhm.
We may, if we have some low level moisture trapped in the low levels of the atmosphere, we may stay kind of cloudy too. It's too soon to tell whether that's going to happen or not. Sometimes predicting those low clouds following a storm like this is very difficult because that moisture layer is so shallow. A lot of times the guidance doesn't even pick it up at all. Uh, Sunday, I don't see that as being an issue. I think that'll mix out. And we should see a good amount of sunshine during the day on Sunday, some milder temperatures. We don't really have a big Arctic high sitting north of us to funnel in that cold air and keep it coming in. So we're going to moderate pretty quickly. Even Saturday, even if we do stay cloudy, we'll likely get above freezing. We'll be in mid 30s, but Sunday we're likely to be closer to 40, and then upper 30s, lower 40s on Monday. So I think once we get into Monday, we're going to melt off the majority of this snow, and this isn't going to be a really really cold snowpack either, like the February, like last January or
That
February
one was cold.
21, where that snowpack was just so cold.
That was
This
brutal.
is this is a wet snowpack. I mean, think about how, like, when you get that crushed ice from Sonic, and it kind of melts really quick. It's
Yeah,
great ice, but
yeah,
but
it's
it
good
melts really
ice.
quick because it's not super cold. But
Yeah,
if you had, like, a big, one giant ice cube that was
yeah,
super solid frozen, it would take forever to melt.
yeah.
Um, so that's kind of the difference there. That this is going to be more of a slushy, wet snow that'll be easier to melt off, especially without having all that sleet. We've had when you have snow with a sleet layer on top of it, or it rains on top of the snow and you get an icy crust. It seems like that snow just sticks around forever. But I don't see that really being an issue with that. I do think that we'll see some issues with refreezing, especially
Most
tomorrow
definitely.
night. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if travel tomorrow night is more treacherous than tonight, um,
And
just
that makes
because tonight
sense.
you have that wet, slushy snow. It's a little
Hmm.
easier to drive through. Tomorrow it's going to get packed down. It's going to get icy, going to melt a little, refreeze. And so tomorrow night is more ice, whereas tonight we have more snow. And then I think by the time we get into Saturday night, we'll melt off enough that we won't have as widespread refreezing problems, even though temperatures dropping below freezing.
Yeah.
And by Monday, we'll be in relatively good shape.
Mhm.
In recent years, I mean, I got to give credit to the Arkansas Highway Department
Yes.
and some of the local municipalities, Little Rock, doing a much better job clearing out snow after a snowstorm than say 10 years ago or 15 years ago. It used to be like there was just the snow would fall and we're like, oh, well, I guess we'll just wait for it to melt. And now I really think those departments have become very proactive in trying to get ahead of it and then really reacting quickly behind the storm. So, this isn't going to be something that's going to be sitting around causing travel problems for 3 or 4 days.
Definitely.
So Cameron,
Yes, sir.
so just real quick, just coming in here. So just to give a small update. So Clarksville's at 2 inches.
Okay.
Right now, Mina's at 7.
Mina's at 7. That's
yes.
crazy.
Conway's 2.5.
Yeah.
Percy's at 2.5. Magazine's at 3. Benton's at 2.
Mhm.
Maumelle is at 3.5.
Okay.
So Hillcrest area here
Mhm.
is around 2 to 2.5. Little Rock Adams Field has only reported 1 inch, but Chenal Valley has reported 3, that equals 3 on Pinnacle Mountain and almost 4 in Danville this evening as well.
That's awesome.
Also, coming in from the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office as well, they are reporting multiple accidents across the county, and they are urging people to stay off the roadways as we head into the nighttime hours, so they can, work to basically help clear accidents and keep people safe overnight.
Yeah. So I'm gonna check out. And by the way, guys, we have all 3 of us here. This is the time right now to ask questions, guys. If you have questions and stuff like that, we'll try to get to it as much as possible. Mandy coming in with an awesome question here. Once melting occurs, will black ice be an issue?
Yes.
1,000%. And like Jeff mentioned, it's not going to be a problem tonight. It's going to be a problem tomorrow night going into Saturday morning here. So if you got any travel plans first thing Saturday morning, I would try to delay it or postpone it as much as possible. Allow time to things for kind of the kind of melt off, etc. And like Jeff mentioned, if we have that low level moisture still kind of lingering around, because you got to remember, this is a system that's moving southwest northeast. There's not a massive Arctic blast coming in right behind it. This is going to be, you're still going to have some low level moisture that may trying to work out on Saturday. So if cloud cover is in place on Saturday, your temperatures are going to struggle. And that's going to lead to even more issues on the roadways and stuff like that. Now, your main roads, I think you're going to be good to go by the time we get to at least midday on Saturday, because RDOT's really going to get out there and take care of your main roads. Your back roads, the ones that they can't get to right away, those are going to be the ones that are going to have the issues as we move into Saturday here. So, really good question, Mandy, here. So, let me see. For how long for snow and how much we're talking in the Hot Springs area here. So, this is our snowfall map. Our 9 to 12 is still in place for much of West Central and Central Arkansas. I wouldn't be shocked. We wake up in the morning. My money's on Mena. I've claimed Mena since this morning. That's going to be challenging for a foot of snow because they're now at 7 inches of snow and it's not even 8 o'clock yet. you still have the rest of this evening, overnight, and for the first part of your Friday to get snow. You can easily make up those 5 inches, and I think you may challenge for a foot of snow over there in the MENA area here. So for a Hot Springs area, we've got 9 to 12. Like we mentioned before, our folks to the east, patience, patience, patience. It's gonna happen. You just gotta let it happen here, guys. Okay. So let me see. Central Arkansas, the heaviest band timing. Now I can pull up radar.
Midnight to 7 a.m.
Do what?
So
Yeah,
as
go
of
ahead.
right now, the current expectations is going to be sometime between 10 p.m.
Yeah.
and 8 a.m. in the morning. That's when the heaviest that's when our main forcing, our main energy will be working through. That is where the heaviest snowfall is expected. As a matter of fact, that's where a lot of our guys, a lot of our short range ensemble means, etc., do show that potential of 1 to 2 inches per hour during that time frame overnight, and that's really when we expect the most amount of snow to fall.
Yep.
Is during that time
During
frame,
the overnight hours.
late tonight into the overnight hours.
Yeah. So let me see here. So this one from Cersei. We've had nothing so far in Cersei.
We talked about this as well.
Yep. Matter of fact, Heidi, you're in this. I think you're in this call. I'm not sure if she's in here or not. She's from Cersei, by the way. Have you had any accumulation or anything yet? I know you have. Okay, so she's had. Okay, so she's saying it's mainly going to be on the elevated surfaces right now. So that's kind of on the eastern extent. Things are going to start to work itself out throughout the overnight hours here. A lot of folks are coming in, bashing us right away, saying that, our forecast is wrong, stuff like that. You got to be patient with us, guys. You got to be patient with weather. That's how it is. The eastward, in the northeastern extent, it's going to work itself out. It is. You're going to wake up in the morning. You're going to have that snow on the ground here. It's kind of like, you go to sleep, you wake up. I've had events like this before. It was during the overnight hours. You go to sleep, wake up to that fresh snow on the ground and everything like that. That's how it's going to be. All the data still saying you're going to get snow. There has been no changes with this here, guys. Okay, I'm going to make that crystal clear. So with eastward extents, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You just got to wait for it. It's going to happen, guys. Okay? We did not, I'm going to make this crystal clear too. We did not expect eastern and northeastern Arkansas to take off until literally right now. This was not going to be a morning event for eastern Arkansas or even an afternoon. You guys were not expected to see anything until tonight in eastern and northeastern Arkansas. Was not expected to be a daytime deal. I think what happened was everybody started getting snow and everybody started expecting it coming in very quickly here. This is a little bit faster than what we were anticipating, but we still weren't expecting eastern and northeast Arkansas to see anything until tonight. That we've covered that over the last couple of days. So it's gonna happen. Just be patient with us, guys. Okay. So let me see here. Sleet in Fordyce. Let me see here. Yeah, Sleet in Fordyce. Can we discuss north central Arkansas here? Now, Shelley, north central Arkansas. Right now, we're going 4 to 7 up there. I think the forecast still remains on track. You guys are still seeing snow up there. It's just what's ended up happening right now here, the heaviest banding. And we said this the entire time. If this system moves north, south, I mean, the track is what's going to vary on these mountains. Nothing has changed whatsoever. I want to make that clear. Nothing has changed whatsoever. Just because you're not seeing snow right now doesn't mean the forecast is a bust. Nothing's changed whatsoever. The mountains haven't changed. The forecast hasn't changed. The timing hasn't changed. Nothing's changed. It has been a brick wall, consistent deal. It's going to take time to work out some of the dry air that's in place. Once that pushes through, and it will happen, by the way, got a lot of moisture coming out from the west that will push the dry air through, and then we will go from there here, okay?
Cameron, one thing about this forecast and
Yeah.
the timing is we really never expected, especially for north central and northeast Arkansas,
Mhm.
we really never expected a whole lot of snow before even midnight.
Exactly.
So, I mean, even getting a little bit of snow is almost overperformance for areas such as, like, if you're around the Clinton area, we weren't really thinking much in the way of anything before 9 o'clock. For Batesville, really, we're thinking much in the way of anything before about midnight. So, the fact that it hasn't happened yet for those areas, that's expected. That doesn't change anything, because that's not a change from the forecast.
Yep.
If Batesville already had 3 inches of snow, I'd be shocked. Something things would be that forecast would be wrong. We would be with That would have been a busted forecast on our part. If Mountain View had 3 inches of snow by now, that would mean the storm was moving way faster than we anticipated.
Yep.
This is expected as far as the timing, that it was going to come
Yeah.
into west central Arkansas first in the early afternoon, get to central Arkansas by later in the afternoon, and eventually work its way to north central and northeast Arkansas as we went into the overnight hours. So, as far as the timing, this is actually what we expected the entire time. This forecast has not changed.
Yeah.
And looking at some of the latest high resolution guidance, it's still showing, like, for northeast Arkansas, for areas such as like Searcy, probably not much before 10 o'clock. Batesville, probably not much before midnight. Jonesboro, far northeast Arkansas, it may not be till after midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. But the guidance is all pretty much unanimous in giving us at least, even northern Arkansas, all the way up to the Missouri border, about half inch of liquid equivalent, right? And across northern Arkansas, it's going to be all snow. We don't have to worry about the mix. So if that's half an inch of liquid equivalent, well, that's all snow. So that's likely to be about 5, 6 inches of snow
Yep.
for northern Arkansas with a half inch liquid equivalent. Um, that's about what's forecast. May have, as you get farther south, those forecast liquid equivalents start to increase, but we see those half inch amounts forecast by all the guidance pretty much unanimously up to at least about a half inch, even for northern and northeast Arkansas. So, very much a significant snow is still expected for northern and northeast Arkansas. So if you're from Greenbrier or Searcy, you go, oh, we just haven't seen much. You're not really supposed to have seen much before 9 o'clock. So
Yeah.
that's
Exactly.
right. It will, if you haven't seen much by 3 a.m., then I'd start to get worried. But
Yeah.
I think by the time we get to about midnight, 3 a.m., it's going to be snowing like crazy around Searcy and Greenbrier and Eagle Springs.
Yep. Exactly. So.
And another thing,
Yeah.
Kim and Jeff, another thing, I want to mention, and this is a thing that we see time and time again, especially with these snowfall outlooks. There's a reason why, us as forecasters, Jeff, I know y'all had this a lot of times, at Carrigator Fox 16. People focus on that high number all the time. They don't look at the
Always.
range. There's always a range of forecasting, for example, 4 to 7, 9 to 9 to 12, 2 to 4, whatever that may be. There's a reason why we forecast a range, because snowfall amounts are going to be in a range. Like, for example, over the course of just a few miles, you could have, say, just for example, you could have a foot of Mayflower, and you could have an inch
Yeah.
down here in the metro.
Yeah.
So, it just really depends, but that's why we always say focus on both numbers, not just the high.
Yeah. And Nicholas, I want to bring your comment up too. We get it. We do. I promise you, it's not us being mean or
We live in the
or anything
South.
like that. You live in the South. When you start talking about, winter storm, you start talking about snow totals and everything like that, a lot of people will, first of all, go to the grocery store. They spend a lot of their hard-earned money on the grocery store. And they have to cancel plans and all that stuff. And the worst time possible to get a winter storm, I've always said, was Friday and Saturday. Because a lot of people have to cancel their Friday night plans or their Saturday plans and stuff like that. And then when it doesn't happen, obviously you're frustrated. You're human at the end of the day. We get it. We do. We understand. But this is not a bust. We're just telling you right now to hold your horses, because we're just like, what, guys, 25% into this event?
Yeah.
If even that.
Easily.
We still got to get through tonight. We still got to get through tomorrow. We still got to get through tomorrow afternoon before this is all said and done. So we get the impatience. We get it. 100%. And you guys are fully, you know, everybody has their own, emotions. I mean, if you're going to be impatient, that's how it is. We're just telling you guys it's still going to happen. No matter what, it's still going to happen. It's just going to take time to do it. So I get it. I do. 100%. And I've always said the worst time to have a winter storm is Friday and Saturday. I'd take it on a Sunday or something like that, late in the weekend, or even then, probably midweek or something. But at the end of the week, early weekend, a lot of people have plans and stuff like that. And some people do like it on a Friday and Saturday too, because you're off of work and everything. But I also know that it cancels a lot of plans. It cancels a lot of stuff. So we get it. 100%. I promise you guys we get it. But we're just telling you it's still gonna happen, no matter what. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, guys. We still gotta get through the night, tomorrow, and tomorrow afternoon before this is all said and done, guys. So
Cameron, let's go up to that one right there.
which one?
The one on YouTube about the Gulf of Mexico.
The Gulf of Mexico. This one.
This is a very good one.
Jeff, how you feeling about spring? Oh man.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
So again, the Gulf of Mexico plays a role no matter what time of year it is, be it summertime and heat, like Cameron loves, in the wintertime, me with what I love, and then of course obviously severe weather, when it comes to forecasting data, that as well. And when you have an above average Gulf of Mexico, anything can happen with the weather, especially, when you deal with that amount of moisture, that amount, especially that warm moist air coming up over these cold air masses. Again, like Jeff said, it's not a deep entrenched Arctic air mass like we saw in 21, but what you're getting this time around is that warm Gulf air overriding what cold air is here. So that's making these winter storms, especially this one, and you have the Pacific as well coming in. So you have a lot of moisture pumping into it. Again, each storm is different. No two storms are alike. But, over the past several winters, and we go through phases in Arkansas where we have, say, a 5 to 7 year period where we have a lot of snow. Then we go through a 5 to 7 year period with little to no snow. That's just how Arkansas weather works. That's how climate works. And we go through those phases. But with the Gulf of Mexico, a lot warmer. We are seeing, more intense winter storms. I would say, Jeff, and you can, chime in here as well. With this, I feel like that the Gulf of Mexico being warmer than average has led to these more intense winter storms, especially across the south.
I mean, it definitely does. I mean, it's just more energy. It's more moisture to fuel these storms when you have warm Gulf temperatures, which we've had. I mean, in December. I mean, you think about it, we really didn't have
I
much in the
know.
way of big cold blasts getting all the way and clearing out through the Gulf of Mexico, and temperatures were pretty warm in the Gulf. Going through the fall and early into the winter. You know, even before we started getting those December cold fronts. So yeah, the Gulf is still pretty warm. Sure, it's cooled off near the coast. Uh, the Gulf is still very warm. So you open that Gulf, you get some southerly flow. You're able to pump moisture into that storm system. And just looking at this, I'm looking at it from a large perspective right now. And this is a very dynamic storm. We have a very strong upper air disturbance coming through West Texas. We have some of that cold air in place. We have a Pacific moisture connection. In the low levels are starting to grab a hold of Gulf moisture. Uh, we see that lift in the atmosphere, very widespread. It's just a very classic storm system. It's pretty much a juggernaut here. So that's why looking at it, this isn't one of these well if ands and maybes type thing. This is the real deal. When it comes down to the details, and I know that's very important for everybody because I mean, what matters is, well, how much snow do I get where I live?
That's
And
what it comes down to at the end of the day.
those details can change. If you get a little bit of that warm air up aloft, well, then you get more of a sleet mix, and it cuts your potential snow accumulation from 8 or 9 inches to 2.
Right.
And that's where we have the greatest uncertainty in our forecast. And I'll tell you, right now, I am not confident about the snow forecast in Arkadelphia. I'm not uh, confident about the snow forecast in Sheridan. I'm not confident about the snow forecast in Pine Bluff.
Hmm.
I'm just not, because it's right on the border there,
Yeah.
and I can't tell you. None of us can tell you within 20 or 30 miles where it's going to go from sleet to heavy snow. I mean,
Right.
you just can't resolve it down to that level. I can tell you that Little Rock can get all sleet. No, I'm not worried about that happening. It's just there's nothing to indicate that that warm air is going to come in and sustain itself during that heaviest round of precipitation between, say, 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Northern Arkansas, where's the bust potential? Well, the bust potential there is, well, we just don't get enough moisture up in northern Arkansas. I just don't see a scenario where that happens, where you don't get the moisture in northern Arkansas. So
Right.
I don't really see a bust potential there. For South Arkansas, for far South Arkansas, Texarkana, Camden, Monticello, point southward, we're already not really thinking this is going to be a big snow event. They're thinking this
Yeah.
is going to be more freezing rain and sleet, which I know is kind of disappointing for some people, maybe a relief from others, but we are pretty confident in that. Is El Dorado suddenly going to be surprised with 8 inches of snow tomorrow morning? No, I don't think that's going to happen. Is Eudora going to get eight
Man.
inches of snow tomorrow morning? No, I don't think so. So we have certain areas. So the confidence in the storm system, as far as the details go, for certain areas, changes quite a bit. Just because we're not really as confident about, say, Arkadelphia as Pine Bluff, that doesn't mean that we're not as confident about, say, Little Rock, Hot Springs, and Love or Heber Springs. It just depends on where you are, where that specifically where that transition zone is.
Yeah.
And for some, when you try to get it down to, well, what's it going to do at my house, that uncertainty really gets pretty high when you're right near that transition zone from where it's going to be primarily sleet and freezing rain to primarily snow.
I'll tell you
So,
this. Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
You can't say, well, at your address, 123 your house,
Yeah.
your town, Arkansas. No, I can't necessarily. Nobody can necessarily be 100% confident of what is going to happen. Uh, with just there's some more uncertainty in the forecast for some areas
Yeah.
than others. But we have a good idea of where that uncertainty is, and what we try to do is convey that, like, where we're more confident and where we're not, and where we're least confident is right along that sleet to snow transition line.
Yeah. So, uh, first of all, Jamie, yes, 100%. If it was 100 degrees outside all the time, I'd be happy. I would. I'm a warm weather guy. I love it. It don't bother me. Secondly, Cody brought up a really good question. I know. Shout out to James Bryant over at KATV. He brought this up the other day about comparing this system to the 2011 January event. Jeff, what is your thoughts on that? In terms of this system versus the 2011 one? I know there's probably obviously the amounts. I think the 2011 one was a more high impacting for, if my memory is right, for the northern northwestern part of the state. What is your thoughts on that? There, you can put your input on there as well.
These are, well, very different systems. The 2011 system, I remember that well. Um, 2011, that was a very deep, an unusually deep area of low pressure. And at the same time, it was interacting with a push of Arctic air. Um, this is more of as far as what's going on the surface, is almost more of a Gulf Coast wave of low pressure.
Yeah, a golf,
Um,
a golf rock.
with
Yeah,
a lot of your precipitation, a lot of your overrunning on the north side of that, because of that upper air disturbance forcing that warmer air over that cold north of the Gulf Coast, and causing a widespread area of precipitation. Whereas the 2011 system was a little bit was actually quite a bit different, where that the upper system and the surface-based system were very closely aligned. Um, so you had a very intense area of low pressure, a very intense extratropical cyclone, and at the same time you had very cold Arctic air coming in behind that. Essentially, what you had happening in the 2011 scenario was something call phasing,
Yep.
where we had a disturbance in the polar jet stream, which was dropping cold air, Arctic air south, and we had a subtropical disturbance. And both of those disturbances, what we call phased or combined. And as they did so, we had a rapidly intensifying storm system. We had Arctic air coming in from the north. We had tremendous moisture coming in out of the Gulf of Mexico. It was almost a ridiculous situation. One of those things where if you were going to think up a meteorological situation in your head, you'd go, "Well, I think that's what it would take. Like, what would
Like
it
the
take to bring
benchmark. Yeah.
widespread blizzard conditions into Arkansas?" And that's pretty much what you would come up with in order to do it. And that's what happened. Um, this we don't see that. We don't have the extreme Arctic. We don't have the phasing of a strong polar disturbance. There is one actually, but they're not phasing. They're not coming together.
Yeah.
If they were coming together, this would be like historical, monumental type storm system. But it's not happening. This is a big storm system. It's a major storm system. Is it going to be monumental and historic? Probably not. This isn't going to be one of the ones where I go, oh, I remember that 2025 January
Tell our
snowstorm from
grandkids
30
about
years
it.
ago. It's
Yeah.
like it's not going to be that. It's not going to be that. But I mean, it's going significant event. But I don't think this is going to be something that's necessarily people are going to be thinking at the top of their minds in the history books.
Yeah.
What?
Years down the road, like the 2011 storm or
Yeah.
like February 2021.
Yeah.
You think
Um,
about
so
the
little bit
snowiest
different
January?
there.
The what?
Major but not historic.
You
What?
don't want to break the snowiest January on record that we had 20 inches of snow
No.
with this one event. I mean,
Oh,
why not?
Why not?
I mean,
Why not? Let's get over it.
I mean,
2025. Why
Get
not?
over that, and Jeff, from a chaser standpoint, during that event, ironically enough, the spring that followed about right in the world, but especially with Mayflower Colonia, but that event in January from a chasing standpoint, one thing I don't recommend going out chasing snowfall. That's something I don't recommend, but I did go out and do it. I remember doing similar to what we do here, but it was more of myself, just putting out a snowfall thing for the Metro and stuff like that. Just talking about the snowfall and stuff, and what we would get. My memory of that storm was having to walk 5 miles to work in it, and that was not fun by any means of the imagination.
It was
But
funny. I can't even remember what I was doing it for.
but for a winter weather lover like myself, these type of events, are great because you get that heavy wet snow. It's a memory making snow, and that 2011 system fell within that those 3 to 5 year period where especially here in Central Arkansas where you get a lot of snow, and then you go through those 3 to 5 year periods, or in the 90s, almost 8 to 9 years where you hardly see any.
So, also Jeff, if you need to go, we can let you hop off, brother. I'm not trying to. I thought you needed to hop off in a little bit.
And we're fixing.
Yeah, I gotta go. I'm actually gonna go and get a couple of snowfall measurements too.
Oh, yeah,
I'll report back and see how we're doing there.
Good.
But it looks like about 3 or 4.
One last thing.
It looks like we've had at least 3 inches here.
Yeah, so we've gone over everything here, guys. And obviously, we'll be here during the overnight hours, tracking this winter storm and stuff like that. But we're also going to enjoy this winter storm, too. We're not going to be behind a computer screen the entire time and everything like that. So what we're going to try to do is get YouTube up. We'll see what we can do with that. If you have us on Roku and Fire TV, obviously, you're going to have this streaming on there. We're going to have radar updates and everything like that. But tomorrow and then the Saturday, it's going to be a little bit more relaxed. It's going to be, us going out there, our entire team. We're going to go out there and enjoy ourselves, enjoy the snow and stuff like that. We'll have updates and everything like that. Don't get me wrong. But we also want to enjoy it as well. One last thing I do want to talk while I have you here, Jeff. I need your opinion on this, and Derek as well. We have a system after this. The CPC has highlighted western and northwestern Arkansas in another heavy snow risk. Now, obviously, shout out to them because they did an amazing job with this event, getting the heavy snow risk out there early and everything like that. um, we looks like we get to do this again down the road. So let me pull up. Let me see if I even have the graphic. Um, Give me 1 second, and I can try to get it up. Give me just a second here. Okay, I think it's this one. And if you give me just a second, there it is. All right. So I need you guys' opinion on this system coming up towards the middle part of the month. This is right around that Martin Luther King time frame.
Uh, I'll tell you right now, I have very low confidence in anything happening at that point, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Um, I mean, I really haven't seen much in the way of any run-to-run consistency of anything major. I mean, just looking at the the latest operational models, and not really seeing much. Sort of hinting at possibly after that weekend a shot of cold air, but even
Yeah.
that's really questionable. But looking at the overall trends, when you look at some of the some of the ensemble models and some of the trends after the 15th, pretty much it splits halfway,
Yeah.
where half of the guidance envelope is showing more pattern and half is showing cold, which tells me that right now, once we get past about a week out, right
Mhm.
in this case, I just really don't have any confidence in the forecast. So, is it something that could possibly develop? Maybe, but right now it's not specifically
Yeah.
indicated
And I
by
was
guidance.
I was thinking the
Um,
same thing.
And
I'm
history.
not. So right now, I mean, this situation here
Mhm.
was hinted at more than 10 days out,
Yeah.
where some of the guidance was showing some sort of southern stream system. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
after 14 days out, the guidance is going to be all over the map, which
Yeah.
it was. You'd see one run where it'd be like, it was showing snow along the Gulf Coast from Houston, New Orleans to Florida Gulf Coast. Like, well, really? Not likely. But
The
when you
fact
start
that Gulf
seeing
Coast
stuff
got
like that,
robbed
you
and
start seeing those similar patterns like, okay, keep seeing the long range guidance, it's persistent and sometimes showing this southern stream system with
yeah.
some cold air in place. Like, well, that pattern is there. I'm not seeing as strong of an indication with this one. I'm not seeing anything that's making my eyes pop out and go, oh well, we're probably really going to need to watch that time frame closely.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, this week, I remember, overall this week was. I remember it. One of the
Oh, this one.
scenarios for
Yeah.
if you go back to around Christmas, one of the scenarios long term for this week was not necessarily snow for Arkansas, but a very very intense blast of cold
Yeah.
air. You know, we didn't have that. I mean,
Yeah.
sure, it got cold, but this wasn't a particularly intense blast of cold air. But we had those signals that
Mhm.
far out that hey, temperatures look normal. Keep seeing some sort of sign of some sort of southern stream system. It's like the risk is there. Even though the models were all over the place in the specifics, overall the scenario looked like there was something there. I don't for this, for what's being shown upcoming for MLK weekend. I just I don't really think that the risk has much in the way of legs at this point.
Yeah.
We'll watch it, but right
Definitely.
now, very 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 low confidence in there
This
being a follow up event.
this one, I'll be honest with you, feels more like one of those typical North Arkansas sees the snow. There's an area of ice, and then somebody else just gets a blatant cold rain. That's what it feels like. Obviously, this map is going to change a lot over the next, couple of days, stuff like that. I just want to jump on it because the moment this event ends, you know full well you get on Facebook, this map's gonna get blasted all over social media, etc. Here, so I just wanted to kind of jump ahead of that and talk about what are we looking at, stuff like that down the road before the chaos starts after this event.
Yeah, just to give you an idea here,
Yeah,
I'm
give
looking
me an
at one of the
idea. Yeah,
operational models, or the European model for the 19th, right?
yeah.
And it's actually showing not a winter weather threat, but a severe weather threat
Well, there you go. So that's why we wanted to kind of
with
talk about
temperatures in the
this. Yeah.
50s and 60s, and maybe even 70s. So
Don't start
heavy
talking my
rain and
language over
possible
here with those
thunderstorms.
70s, man.
It's yeah. Now again, that's a 10-day forecast, but
Yeah.
that just goes to show that there's very little in the way of any sort of consistency here among the guidance showing some sort of winter weather event right around that.
Yeah. Yep.
So
So
just we'll watch it, but uh, if I had to pick a side of the coin right now, right this second, I would say no, it's not going to happen.
and that's same here. That I mean, obviously, from totally speaking, average, that's it's average for this time of year. But again, typically when you get these major Arctic blasts and these major winter storms, especially the amount of snowfall we've had across the lower 48 in the last 10 or 15 days,
yeah,
you do get a January thaw.
Yep.
It happens every year that everybody starts going, winter's over. Oh no, it's warm. Spring's coming, and all of a sudden February hits, and you're like, oh, never mind. So that being said, we're gonna get through this storm first.
Yep.
Then we'll start talking about that. As we get into next week. And we start thawing out from this event. Again, heaviest snowfall will be tonight from about 10 p.m. to about 7, 8 in the morning.
Yep.
Snowfall starts tapering off from west to east. After sunrise tomorrow, most of us will still see snow through about midday to mid-afternoon tomorrow. Your weather storm warning expire starting at noon tomorrow, West Arkansas. 6 p.m. across the Central Third, and then of course at midnight to 6 a.m. across Eastern Arkansas. That being said, we'll have like Cameron said, Jeff said, both we'll have updates on our Facebook page, our YouTube, and then of course obviously on our Roku and Fire Stick as well. If you do have any sort of snow damage, winter weather damage, especially for our folks in South Arkansas, be sure to give our friends over at with him more. Yeah.
Matter of fact, I could pull up their graphic here. We talked about this earlier on this morning about that potential here, guys. So if you have any tree damage or stuff like that, I don't think this could be a widespread issue. But if you were to have, especially with the heavy snow and the ice, we were to have any tree damage, give those guys a call. They help make all of this happen along with other sponsors. They make all of this happen. The school list behind you, the radar, all these fancy stuff that you guys see posted on the page, they make this happen. So go check them out. One last thing I want to address too, be nice to the essential workers, guys. The grocery store workers, the RDOT guys, the energy guys, the ones that have to be out in this. Folks, it doesn't cost a penny to be nice. Okay, it doesn't. The kindness does not cost a dime. So don't be rude to them. Don't go, and I understand emergencies happen and stuff like that, but don't go be rude to them because they are working for you, by the way, away from their family and their friends and stuff like that here, guys. And they're going to be working hard, especially RDOT. They are going to be working hard over the next 24 to 72 hours. Make sure these roads are clear and the main interstates and stuff are back open and everything like that here. So please be nice to them, guys. Okay, you can rewind this live stream, by the way, if you miss anything. I want to stress this too, my folks in Eastern Northeast Arkansas. If you haven't seen snow,
you will before morning.
You will. You go to bed, get some sleep. You're gonna wake up first thing in the morning, and boom, you're gonna have your snow on the board here, guys. A lot of people are waiting, etc. I get the excitement, by the way. Being excited is not a ticket to being rude. I'm telling you that right now. I get it. I get the excitement. I know, this is Arkansas' first big event we've had in quite some time. You're not going to be rude to our moderators. You're not going to be rude to our forecasters, guys. It's just not going to happen, okay? We get the excitement. Stay with us. We're going to be here. Biggest thing is, it's going to happen, okay? For our folks in Eastern, Northeastern Arkansas, we promise it's going to happen, okay? There's nothing that has changed over the last 24 to 48 hours here to steer our thinking in terms of seeing snow or anything like that here, guys. And also our pharmacies, the ones that have to work in the hospitals and all that stuff, be nice to them as well here, guys, okay? I'm just stressing that. So from myself, from Derek, and from our meteorologist, Jeff Baskin here, this has been your winter storm coverage. We're going to break away. I think we can get away with radar updates and stuff like that. We're going to try to turn YouTube on so you guys kind of watch the radar and stuff like that. We're going to enjoy the snow and stuff tomorrow here. So you're not going to hear too much from us tomorrow outside of traffic reports, road condition reports, I think there you may sneak a live stream or a video or
Yeah,
some sort in the morning,
We'll probably do a live
But,
stream,
yeah.
sometime mid-morning.
mid morning or something like that.
Tomorrow, just kind of, giving everybody an update on what to expect for the rest of the day on Friday. But again, like Cameron said, for myself, for Cameron, and meteorologist Jeff Baskin, we continue to track this latest winter storm right here on your source for all things Arkansas weather.